What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. So this is where we at now. I got one from the No Fugazi podcast. I don't think I've ever reacted to the No Fugazi podcast. So, we're going to try it out, see what's going on. And so apparently, they had an ex-stripper come on and, basically talk out the side of her neck. So let's go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
That she just used to strip, right? 10 years prior to meeting.
Melvin's?
No, just say a woman.
Oh, a woman,
and
okay.
Just instead of it being Melvin, it's a woman. In her past, she used to strip.
Okay.
But now she's going on and she's gotten her bachelor's degree and this, that, and the third. And her stripping career was what paid for that bachelor's degree. Now she's, graduated and onto her career. She meets a man. Will he look at that past the same as what you were saying is like, oh, I can't bring her into my future. She used to shake her up for a living.
Correct.
Yeah. So well, you can go ahead and answer this issue.
Wow, Cooley. I forgot you were here. Hi.
Yeah, because I'll be talking a lot.
He was asleep in the corner over here.
He was asleep.
Now I'm just letting y'all speak.
Look at his eyes. He was asleep.
But yes, like Cooley said, we do care about your past. Once we hear that you did anything promiscuous in the past, whether it's be a stripper or a prostitute or just known to sleep around with plenty of guys.
That's not what I said.
I'm just giving an example. That's an automatic no for most men.
But that's not what I was saying.
Including stripper.
Okay, but
we don't care. We don't care if you.
It's sex work. So strip work is a form of sex work, and the reason why. And think about it, like when we get married, hypothetically, say if we got married, you take my last name.
Mm-hmm.
So the last name means something. If you are a stripper, if you was a stripper, it doesn't matter. Your reputation. What I'm saying is your reputation still carries with you. So the person that I'm giving my last name to, I want her to have a good reputation, not a bad reputation. Now, if we change it, if we say that like the woman got locked up and did some time versus the woman that was on a stripper pole, we'll take the chick that was in prison rather than.
I don't know. Hold on. I don't know, Fugazi. Depending on what she was locked up for. You gotta break those tangibles down too. It depends on what she was locked up for. Now, he's definitely telling the truth on the back end of the situation. But in today's society, the situation that men are in as far as their last name is not, as prestigious as it used to be. And I'm talking about just for the average guy. Like if you don't become some multi-millionaire, some super famous guy, stuff like that, in most situations, when you're trying to marry average and stuff like that, people, most women ain't trying to, they're not looking at your last name as like you supposed to have some type of pride in your last name. Most average women don't think like that anymore. That's the reason why she's like, well, if I just, was a stripper and this and that, woo to woo, most women don't care that you take pride in your last name or in the name that you want to, the legacy of your name, period. Whether you're a multi-billionaire or you just a decent human being, a guy that's actually worked hard, stuff like that, that's built something for himself and want to pass it on to his children. Most women don't think like that anymore. So this is where we're coming to right here as far as the last name situation.
The chick that was on the triple pole.
What guys don't want is if I'm dating a girl and she used to be a stripper and I take her to an event with all my friends, the most embarrassing thing for a man is if they come up to us like, yo,
I was slapping her booty I was that thing.
I had in a private room. I did this to her, I did that to her.
Twirling around like.
And those are the facts. Those are the facts.
The most embarrassing thing for a guy, whether you ladies agree with it.
And the crazy thing is, she did all that for another man and didn't even do it for you.
So that's the worst part.
But what if she did that in a different state and then you took her to somewhere else and nobody knows her?
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
There's no reputation.
It doesn't matter.
See, that's the disingenuous shit we're talking about out here, people.
What the French toast is there to think about?
This is how I know she not thinking. Hold on.
No fish-eyed fool.
This is how I know she not thinking. Well, what if she did it in a different state? Listen, look, baby, that shit may have worked 40, 50 years ago, even 30 years ago. That may have worked. In today's society where everybody got cameras, even in the dance clubs and the strip club, stuff like that, they got cameras in the strip club, outside the strip club. When you leave work, it's cameras on light poles. It's cameras every fucking where in today's society. You can't escape a camera. So what she talking, and then definitely depending on what city you live in. Like if you live in some podunk country town, then okay, that's different. You know, that's probably a little bit different. But if you live in a major city or something that's close to a productive city, you on camera everywhere you fucking go. So, you know what I'm saying? She talking about, well, what if, you know, it's like, man, listen, look, because I'm sorry, because this is crazy. Jesus, man, I can't believe people are this stupid to not understand what day and time they're living in. What do you mean, baby? It's cameras everywhere. Everybody got you on camera at some point. Even if the strip club make a rule where you can't, you know what I'm saying, use your own camera inside the strip club still has cameras. And then 9 times out of 10, most women nowadays, which, you know, because she's being disingenuous with the thought process of the situation, they're going to promote themselves on social media to come to the strip club so she can make money.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
So what are you talking about? And that's gonna be there.
Either in heaven or hell. If we find out, this is a dog.
But what about men too? Men strip too.
That's why you
men shake their booty and men do
and
anything.
you ladies don't remember. You don't really care about the man's
what you say.
I know I'm
girls, but I'm just saying you're so convicted with what you say. Like you say that from the deepest part of your
Yes, because I mean what
but
I
9 times out of 10, it's
wrong. It's judgmental.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on
It's
that.
judgmental.
But a lot of the times when it comes down to it, it's half-hearted with a lot of the things that you guys go so hard on. Because at the end of the day, whichever woman catches your heart and really is rocking with you, and you can feel that from the deepest part of where you just said that from, it ain't gonna matter where she came from.
Me, yes, it will.
Not, but that's you. But that's you. I'm not saying okay, a full-fledged. Of course, you're not gonna give that your last name. You're not even gonna say,
okay,
bruh,
a stripper
stop
too.
it.
That's
I
you.
used to
That's your
dance, and I've
opinion.
never in my life been
What about a
completely
felon?
nude. Okay, so you're sitting up and
doesn't
telling
matter.
me that I will never be married because of the fact that I used to
So
dance.
I never said that.
Sounds
Stop
crazy.
putting words in my mouth.
No, but I'm just saying. But you're saying, you literally just said, why would I want to give a woman my last name if she's been out there? The last thing a guy wants to do is to know that the girl's been out there with another guy.
Yes.
I mean, that's just the truth, baby. When you dancing in these clubs and stuff like that, in these cities, and like I said, depends on the size of the city that you live in, stuff like that. You know, if you're in a small town and you leave a small town some damn where in the middle of no fucking where, and then you move to another city or to a city or, you know, something bigger, then yeah, ain't nobody gonna know who the fuck you are. That's just reality. Unless by some miracle or some shit like that, you run into somebody from your small town that's visiting the city that you in. I mean, that you living in now. But let's just keep this shit on task here, for real. What this really is. If you fucking danced in Atlanta, you know, 20 years ago or 15, 20 years ago, when the internet was first popping off, things like that, you know, there's going to be footage of you doing something. Just like, you know what I'm saying, even back in the 90s, there was footage of Freaknik and stuff like that. Y'all remember when that shit came out and hit the fan over the internet? You know, a lot of children saw their mothers and stuff like that out there doing things, you know, dancing on cars, all types of crazy shit. And you know what I'm saying, this woman been fixing this child oatmeal for the past 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Telling her children not to do this and not to do that, but she popping and locking on the top of a fucking a 96 Chevy Impala. You know, I mean, listen, look, it just is what it is. Most men are not wanting to get with women and give them children and stuff like that, so this chick's past can come back, and you have to explain that shit to the children too. Let's just keep this honest. I mean, you know, that's on both sides. If like, yeah, if you as a man got a treacherous past and stuff like that, and you have children in the future, you got to explain that shit too. It works both ways, but you know what I'm saying? For most of the time, man, motherfuckers don't care what dudes be doing, bro. You know, unless it's just some super horrible ass shit.
Okay, some guys don't even care about
the same way you women care about a man having money, being able to take care of you, being competent, etc., etc. Instead of being 6'4", we care about a woman's passion, her being sexual and being a whore.
Okay, so you date like, Jennifer Lopez, a Beyonce, all them. They wear the same thing and go and perform. Now, okay, just say the stripper is not a stripper. She's an artist, a singer, and
Beyonce to a stripper.
Jennifer Lopez dead was just on the freaking Super Bowl stripping, dancing on a stripper pole. One of the Jenny from the Block. Stop playing like she's not a Beyonce. Okay, so again, but stop playing like she wasn't a Beyonce in her own sense. And I'm not just saying, oh, Beyonce's a stripper, but she still wears that strippers wear.
So let me ask you a question.
No, I'm just saying, when it comes down to it, you guys can sit up there and try and degrade certain situations and look at it as a character flaw because of what? The sexualities are heightened?
So first of all,
the sexuality is heightened?
A woman stripping she's degrading herself, not me.
That's not degrading yourself.
How are you going to be on the stripper pole and you say, I'm the one degrading you?
I said you want to try and degrade women and put it as if they're expressing their sexuality.
Yes, you're correct. I'm degrading
because you're mixing them.
OnlyFans models, chicks that sleep around with 100,000 of men that are the town whore. Yes, I'm degrading them. Look, I'm sorry, but like women who sexualize themselves never been respected in all of history. When the woman,
the main thing on mainstream media is sexualization of women. What are you talking about? You literally sit there and watch and sit there and get your kicks off over women. The whole society is built off of.
Stop all that clapping in the background, baby.
So what's the French toast is there to think about?
Women are doing that on their own free will. All this stuff that they're talking about, they talking out the side of their neck. These women are doing that because they want to do that. Ain't nobody holding them women hostage. Ain't nobody trafficking them women. And I'm not talking about the women that are being trafficked. That's horrible situations. That's a whole nother broadcast. Seriously, because that's a fucking tragic, horrible situation. We're not talking about that right now. She's not even talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's talking about that right now. But the thing of this is the women that are engaging in the OnlyFans and going to the clubs and stripping and stuff like that, they're doing that of their own free will. Nobody's making that woman get up every day and go down to Puff and Stuffs and shake her ass.
So what's the French toast is there?
Nobody's making her do that. She's doing that because, of course, listen, look, yeah, she enjoys what money it brings, and the money does come fast and things like that. And she also enjoys the attention that comes with it. Let's just be honest here. So, you know, the issue here is that we're talking about a situation to where, yeah, most men that actually have something to lose in life built themselves to a certain level in life and have a certain reputation on jobs or careers or whatever, you know, yeah, they're not going to want to bring that type of woman around, not even with just family. You know what I'm saying? If you a man that's raised with a decent family, stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, with halfway decent, we know how crazy the world is nowadays. It just is what it is. But yeah, you're not going, you know what I'm saying? What you going to tell you know, the women in your family, what, you know what I'm saying? You about to marry a chick, she used to strip, like, you know, just, you know, and if the women in your family never actually engaged in that type of lifestyle, they're going to look at you stupid. They're going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? I thought we raised you better than that.
Exploiting women. Your whole podcast is exploiting women. So how are you going to sit there and say, yes, I'm degrading, because that's your whole niche, Eve. That's your niche. That's the way you make money, Eve, is degrading of women, Eve. So why are you sitting up here?
I'm degrading women who do sex work.
Oh, you're degrading all of women because the women who don't want to stay with their husbands for cheating on them, you degrade them too because they're going to believe the women that aren't having sex with their women, 80%, you're still degrading them too, but you're not giving a reason why.
I'm talking about women.
Okay, so listen, real quick. I got
You're
you.
adding other stuff that I've never even
Ease, I
said
got you.
today.
We're moving the
So real
we're moving
quick,
the
let
goalposts.
me get
You
some
are.
decorum.
Yes,
No,
Let me
you're talking
create
about
some
you put a whole
decorum.
list of things you degrade.
Yes,
you,
those
missed,
are
you missed
sexual
a couple.
acts.
You missed a couple.
Yo, mama, let me create some decorum here. Good back and forth. Good, I like it. That's why I let it go. It was spirited. So you said
Tell you
something.
gonna be a clip note.
You said something to East. You said that, man, you're speaking with a lot of conviction, with a lot of passion.
Yeah.
And Ease is speaking with a lot of passion because this is how
I had to do it to him.
This is how he feels. And he feels this way is because he really think that these women that degrade themselves really don't deserve a good man. That's essentially what he's saying, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
And correct me if I'm wrong, though. One of the reasons why I think that you're speaking with a lot of conviction and passion too is because you were one of the women that was that fit that description that was stripping.
Yes, dancing.
Is that correct? Okay, cool. So both of you are speaking with passion.
Yeah.
Now, the difference between the conversations and what you're having is I see the angle where you're coming from. You're saying that, well, there's men out there, yes, saying this stuff like men don't want these women, but there's men out there that accept this all the time. Mm-hmm. And the reason why you are saying this is because you know what? You're right. There are men that accept women that do OnlyFans, that strip and do porn and do all of these things. Right. Let me finish. Let me land my plane.
Go ahead,
you
land
get what I'm
it.
saying? I'm saying that I understand you, right? But the truth is, those men that accept you with your checkered past, you don't want them. You don't want those men. The thing is, you ladies actually are more attracted to the guys that has some morality, that has a backbone that says, listen, I want something better for you rather than that, right? So the man that would accept you with that, he obviously really doesn't want anything better for you because he's accepting that. So I say all of that to say, even when you're speaking about, oh, this podcast, and well, first, even before you get to the podcast, some of the things that you were saying were very true. You said that, well, men are exploiting women. Look at OnlyFans, look at porn. Most of the porn industries, the owners are men exploiting women. I 100% agree. And those men aren't good men. Those men, I would say, are simps. The men that get into relationships with those women are simps. But normally, those aren't, when women settle with guys, like when girls did OnlyFans or had been doing sex work, strippers and stuff like that, and they're in a relationship with the guy and they're still doing it, they don't really respect those men, because if they really respected those men, I did a whole panel. I did many panels of all strippers. Mm-hmm. They know how degrading it is. They know how it hurts their soul. Like, I'm only doing it because like I have to. If I didn't have a choice, I really wouldn't do it. Listen, the majority of strippers, I've had interviewed many strippers. Now there's exceptions to the rules. There's some strippers that want to do it because they like doing it. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about generally most strippers, most people, most women that's in sex work, they're doing it because they don't really want to do it. And when they're with the man at that time, the man that accepts them why they're doing it, they can't respect them because it's like, you're not getting me out of this situation.
No,
I'm doing something that is very degrading. So listen real quick.
No, 1 second.
I got to go real quick now. I'm not going too far.
I mean, I kind of get what he's saying, but at the same time, though, too, there are other ways for women to do things. Listen, look, man, this world is built to a degree where women can actually do a lot of things and get a lot of money. And half the time they don't even have to lift a finger to get money. Now I get what he's saying. Some women probably, of course, don't want to actually be in that lifestyle and stuff like that. Circumstances do happen. Life does happen to certain people. But my thing of this is you can't expect other people to accept your choices, even if you did them with, even if you're doing them with good intentions for your life or you trying to get out of certain stuff, people don't have to accept that. So, it just is what it is at this point. Like, and I get what he's saying too. Like, most of the chicks will probably be like, well, she can't respect the dude that she with if she doing all this stripping and out there, selling herself and stuff like that. She can't respect him because, she looking like, okay, you ain't trying to help me get up out this situation. But at the same time, though, too, in some cases, most cases, she was probably already doing that shit before she even met this dude.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
So it's like, okay, and the situation here is what this shit breaks down to. And I think I'm gonna wrap it up right there. I think I'm gonna wrap it up right here. What it really breaks down to is that the old school saying, birds of a feather flock together. That's the reason why you have to watch the decisions that you make. You have to make sure you try to make as right decisions as possible. Now, I get it. Some people not going to. Sometimes life happens, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. But you have to accept the consequences that come with your decisions that you're going to do in life. Whether they're decisions that you made on your own, or you had to make a decision from other consequences that happened to you and shit like that. But you still have, you know what I'm saying, consequences to your decision, whether they be good or bad. And these are the things that we're talking about right here. We can't sit here and negate these facts about, how the decisions that you make in life don't affect you in the long run. And, it's just the truth, though. It's sad, but that's just the thing. That's just the thing. Most men are not going to want to accept, women that are strippers. Not for wives and close companions and stuff like that, and bring them home to families and, giving them children. Even though you do have plenty of stripper women out here that have children, but they not having children with the type of men that they really want to have children with. And they know that, and this is just where it's at. So it's a sad situation. But like I said, though, too, what needs to be understood out here in this world is some of these old school sayings were created for a reason, and the birds of a feather flock together is a very true statement. You are the person who you are around on a consistent basis. If you're in the street life, you are of the streets. If you're in the church, you are of the church. If whatever you do and who you are around consistently, you are of them. Pigeons don't fly with eagles. I'm just being honest with you. You know what I'm saying? It never will happen. And this is the thing right here. You have to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to fly with the eagles? Or are you going to fly with the pigeons? It's sad, but it's true. And this is where we at right here. So yeah, she talking out the side of her neck. A lot of them are, and things like that about the situation they had. Most men would not accept a woman that's, been in the streets like that for close, long-term companionship. Definitely if he knows, now if she can get it over on him and keep that part of her life hidden, then, she may be able to survive. But in today's society, like I said before, with all these cameras and technology and everything, and most of these women that are actually engaging in the type of lifestyle, they actually promote on the internet so people can come see them and they can get money and stuff like that on those jobs and career, well, not careers, but doing those type of activities and making money that way. So yeah, it just is what it is, man. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.